This is Rob Carbone, and you're listening to BD4, where there's no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. What is going on, guys? This is Rob Carbone coming at you with another episode of BD4, where there is no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. Tonight, we are going to cover the Knicks, obviously do our usual two-game recap. Episode 87 here. The Knicks they just keep killing me slowly. Very, very slowly. It is torture. It's the same shit every night. Now, they did pick up a win the other night, to wrap up their 5-game homestand against Detroit. It was a 96-84 victory in 2020. That's kind of a low-scoring game, I'd say. And really, no team really had the knack. The Detroit Pistons obviously came out of the gate very sluggish because, there was no Andre Drummond via trade. Obviously, the Morris trade too, the Jackson trade, and then the injuries to Derrick Rose, to Blake Griffin, obviously. So they just came out with a gutted roster for certain reasons, and they just, as an underachieving Pistons team, I kind of expected them to have little energy at this point in the season. And the Knicks didn't have energy much either, but I guess they had more energy. And, the two teams just kind of dragged through mud for the majority of this one until the Knicks kind of took over a little bit in the third period. Elfrid Payton was feeding Julius Randle, his pet. But yeah, the Knicks dominated defensively and pretty much took over the paint. On both ends, to be honest, because Detroit only scored 32 paint points, so the Knicks were doing a very, very nice job keeping them out of the interior, and the Knicks, on the other hand, capitalized with 54 paint points. No team shot the ball well, so the Knicks just had to do their damage wherever they could, wherever the open spots came. And it was just a paint-dominant game for them. Detroit couldn't get anything going from outside either, to be honest. They were only 29% from deep. So the Knicks just locked them down pretty good, but it was definitely their paint presence. Two guys in particular. I looked at Mitchell Robinson and Frank Ntilikina being the defensive anchors that game. I think the two played very well. Mitchell Robinson had 11 rebounds. Down there, he was crashing the glass, and he had 3 blocks as well. So his interior defense was outstanding. Also had 14 points. So did his damage, again, down in that paint. And Frank Ntilikina played some good defense as well on the wing, as a wing, obviously, guarding the perimeter and doing a nice job on whoever he was called upon to cover. Frank hit a couple of big shots down the stretch. He did a nice fourth quarter bag of tricks where he crossed somebody and finished at the rim. I think he had a couple of nice defensive plays. I think he drew a charge down the stretch in that game. Even Kevin Knox had 2 blocks in the first half of that game. But, leading the way, I guess it was Elfrid Payton with 16 points, 7 of 11 shooting, 6 assists, and 5 rebounds. And Julius Randle, who led the team in a bunch of categories, led with 22 points. He led with 12 rebounds, led with 9 free throw attempts and made 7 of them, and he led with 3 steals. So he was playing downhill, aggressively, using his strength more often than not. And he hit a 3, took 1 3-point attempt, and he made a 3. So he played well. Elfrid Payton played well. But again, it's kind of hard to get excited when it's those two as opposed to when it's your kids doing the work. When it's part of your future doing the work, that's when you get excited. But it was a good win. The Knicks held the Pistons to 37 points down the stretch in the second half. The fourth quarter was their big quarter. And the third quarter was their big offensive quarter where they got a lot more spacing because they had guys like Ellington on the floor. Bullock was on the floor, which allowed the lane to open up for Randle to do his damage. So that was pretty much that on that game. Again, not much to talk about. As we move to tonight, a little more. A lot happened tonight, man. It was a tough loss against the Washington Wizards. The first of a week-long road trip for the Knickerbockers. They took the 122 to 115 loss, and it was tough to watch because, well, first of all, the first half of this game was not that it was a dream for a Knicks fan like myself, but it was good because you saw the kids doing work while the veterans got their own too. But it was the first half that included a lot of offensive cohesion tonight. Aggressiveness, selflessness, continuity out there. The Knicks had the slow start, which they scored 4 points in the first 4 minutes. They were down 18-4. Mike Miller used his second timeout within that span and took all 5 starters out of the game just a few minutes into it. And that was kind of what sparked them from the get-go. The bench took over. Bobby Portis had a hot shooting first half with 16 points. Playing the catalyst was Frank Ntilikina, who dimed out a bunch of assists, and he even started scoring from all over the floor. He was aggressive, driving to the lane, down the lane, getting to the free throw line. I think he nailed a couple threes, a step back, a crossover. He dug into his bag of tricks a couple times, had some flashy passes as well to Taj Gibson, and he played very good. He ended up with 20 points and 10 rebounds, 10 assists. It was his first 20-point game of his career. It's obviously not good that it was his first one, but it's good in terms that you're finally seeing Frank be aggressive out there. But yeah, that first half, again, man, the Knicks looked good. They had some cohesion. In the second quarter, again, Frank kept passing, Frank kept scoring. Reggie Bullock even started to get hot a little bit. The Wizards really only had 5 points in the second period up till the 5:30 mark or something like that. So the Knicks were locking them down as well as hitting their own shots, and they headed into the locker rooms at intermission up 70-54. And that was about it, because in that second half it just all started to go downhill. I look at turnovers as being the big part of this loss here. A lot of turnovers in that third quarter. 10 of the Knicks' 18 turnovers came in that third period. There was a point where the Knicks turned it over 3 times in a row. The first 2 of those turnovers were 24-second violations. That's unacceptable. That should not happen. It was very disappointing to see that. They were forcing shots in that second half. They were just very sluggish. And they couldn't defend the three-point line. A barrage of turnovers, just poor three-point defense, dumb fouling, forced shot attempts, missing box outs, just poor rotations on screens, not rotating correctly on screens. They were getting abused in pick and roll with Thomas Bryant. Bradley Beal hitting threes on them all night. The lineups were terrible. Questionable decisions from Mike Miller. It was not good. And heading into the fourth quarter, a 17-4 Wizards run allowed the Wizards to head into the fourth tied at 87. So, and then once the fourth came, it was pretty much more of the same. Again, a barrage of turnovers, poor three-point defense, getting abused on pick and roll, not rotating on screens correctly, dumb fouling, and it just ended up where the Knicks just couldn't get it done. They had no cohesion that half. It was a tale of two halves. So, not good, guys. Not good. We'll be right back. Hey guys, Rob Carbone here. Really quick, I just want to talk to you about Anchor. Anchor is a free podcast hosting site, and I say that again, it's a free podcast hosting site that will distribute your podcast for you to other platforms such as Spotify, Apple, Overcast, and all those websites. But here's the best part. Not only is it free, not only do they share it for you, but they will pay you for recording a podcast. They will pay you. And you can do it from your computer, from your phone. All you have to do is go to the Anchor app and download that, or go to their website, which is anchor.fm, to begin. It's everything you need. It is so convenient for podcasters like myself. So please, guys, go download the Anchor app or go to their website, anchor.fm, to begin. See you there. Points, 10 assists, 4 steals, and he shot 6 out of 9 from the floor. So Frankie Ntilikina, again, we spoke on it a few minutes ago, but it was at least a positive to see him be aggressive out there and see him play with some confidence. Now that's definitely been a step upwards for him this season. I've definitely noticed he's playing with more confidence and he's playing more aggressively and he's getting, he's kind of gaining more courage on the floor, not afraid to do certain things. It's not a large improvement, but it's definitely something I've noted. It's a noteworthy improvement a little bit. I just want it to be more consistent because I'm not at this point in his career, I'm not asking Frankie Ntilikina to be a lottery pick. He was a lottery pick for the Knicks, but I'm not asking him to live up to lottery expectations anymore. At this point, I just want him to be a good, solid NBA player. Doesn't even have to be a starter, but for this Knicks team right now where they are, I would like for him to get some starts here down the stretch and, not play Elfrid Payton, who's probably not going to be here at all next season. And if he is, that'll be his last year because he's on a non-guaranteed 2-year deal. So, it doesn't hurt to play Frankie Ntilikina again. And the last couple nights he's been more aggressive out there. 10 shots versus Detroit, and tonight he goes out and goes 6 of 9 from the floor, takes 9 shots. And he scores his 20 points for the first time in his career. Again, man, this is a guy who if he can just be aggressive out there and have that confidence in his shot and just play like he play with the force, I think he could maybe, the ceiling is there for him to eventually score in double figures, maybe on a nightly basis. Maybe 8, 9, 10, 11 points tops, and I'll take that with the great defense he plays and with how unselfish he is offensively and how he gets, not just 1 or 2 people involved like Elfrid Payton does, but when Frank's out there, he gets everybody involved. Now he has to be more of a floor general out there and command out there more. He's not necessarily a great quarterback, so to speak yet, but I do like the fact that he at least tries to involve the guys around him and involve the youth and not just certain players every game. Because we see this often with Elfrid Payton where he's going to run a 2-man pick and roll with Taj Gibson, or he's going to run a 2-man pick and roll game with Julius Randle, and he doesn't necessarily get everybody else involved. R.J. Barrett is often left standing in the corner, or Kevin Knox and other guys aren't getting involved enough. But with Frank, you're getting more involvement. You're getting that that team chemistry, cohesion type of play from him. So I do want to see him become more aggressive, but I think in order to get him to have that confidence, he should probably be starting every night at least 25 to 30 minutes, and just thrown out there consistently to see what he's got at this point. There's only 18 or something games left in the season, so why not? I also wrote down that I think R.J. Barrett had. Well, first off, he did score 16 points. It took him 15 shots, but again, I know I've said this the last couple of episodes where it's good to see R.J. Barrett still score 16 points on a bad night. That right there is the sign of a good scorer, right? It's the sign of somebody who still knows how to create opportunities for himself and generate offense. So he still did score 16 points despite shooting, 5 of 15 from the floor. But he did really struggle elsewhere. He struggled. Again, didn't shoot correctly. Didn't shoot Didn't shoot well because he forced a lot of shots. He had 5 turnovers. Defensively, I thought he wasn't great tonight. I thought he had some very poor defensive lapses out there. So R.J. Barrett had kind of a rough night, especially down the stretch in that game. But again, I'm going to look at the 16 points as a positive because lately we're seeing it more often that even when he doesn't shoot well, he still manages to score around his average, which is a tad under 15. Mitchell Robinson at 10 points tonight. Only played 25 minutes. Again, his impact when on the floor was known. It was known. He's a very high impact player out there. but why are we limiting his minutes? We even froze Frankie Lakina a little bit out of the rotation down the stretch. Again, questionable decision making from Mike Miller here. I don't know what's going on. Why are we closing games with guys we shouldn't really be closing with guys that aren't part of this future? I don't know. But it continues to happen, and it's got to be, it's not something I see changing. And the Knicks just couldn't get it done defensively tonight. You can't allow 122 points and expect to win a ball game. Bradley Beal poured in 40 points, although I think they might have changed it to 39 after the game, because I think they might have given him credit for a free throw he didn't make. I think it was Thomas Bryant who actually made a free throw, and they gave Beal the point. But still, 39-40, he went off tonight, and the Knicks just let him take 25 shots, let him get to the line 16 times and convert 14 of them, 11 field goals made. Thomas Bryant, like I said, abused the Knicks in pick and roll, scored 14 points, rebounded 9. Shabazz Napier even went off for 21 points, hit a 3, was killing the Knicks inside the arc, and that was pretty much it, guys. Again, Knicks just had trouble defending down the stretch and just had trouble getting any type of offensive rhythm down that stretch. 14 out of 35 was 40% from deep for the Wizards. They were also 38 out of 45. 45 free throw attempts. They hit 84% of them, the Wizards did. You can't do that. So giving up 40% from 3 on 35 attempts, 84% from the line on 45 attempts. That's a lot of offense you're allowing there, just by simply those two spots on the floor. And for the Knicks, they were only 8 out of 21 from distance and 23 for 31 at the stripe. So there's a big part of your game too. But you look at that, the defense, the turnovers, and just the lack of cohesion offensively in that second half, and there's your ball game right there, folks. So I think that's going to wrap this one up. The Knicks will head to Atlanta tomorrow night to play the Hawks. So I'm sure Trae Young will score at least 40 points because he's averaging, 30? So definitely due for a 40-point game against the Bockers. It is in Atlanta, so we'll see what happens there. The Knicks, like I said, are on a week-long road trip. We'll see what happens. Again, though, it's not really about the win-loss anymore. It's just, at this point, I just want to see the kids learn to win and just learn to play well together, and the kids spend time with each other on the floor. Put the right lineups out there. Put the kids in position to succeed, and make sure certain guys are getting the minutes they need to be getting. And it's still not happening at this point. It's Mike Miller is obviously coaching for his job here. He's coaching for wins as opposed to he's not trying. We're not really prioritizing player development. We're just prioritizing. Mike Miller is prioritizing coaching to save his job, which is kind of, at this point, I think it's safe to say he probably won't be back in this capacity next season. I think he should be on the staff next year as an assistant, but, I don't think he'll be around as the head coach. I think the Knicks are going to explore their options out there, and we'll see what they do. I mean, Tom Thibodeau's obviously in rumors, but just recently, obviously, over in New Jersey, Kenny Atkinson was fired. A lot of people didn't like it. They said, the Nets were, the 7th seed? They're heading for a second straight playoff appearance. Now, I understand it's playoffs, but they're under 500 by 5 or 6 games. They're only in the playoff hunt because of how mediocre and weak the Eastern Conference is. So I wouldn't necessarily say he's done a nice job. But then you look at it, Kyrie Irving is injured. Obviously, they have no Kevin Durant. So maybe it's not necessarily all his fault, but still, even that team last year, a lot of those guys are still there. You still have Dinwiddie, you still have LeVert, and a couple other, Joe Harris, and you're not getting the job done as well as you were last season, where you were well over 500. So I don't know. I think he's maybe getting a little too much sympathy from the fans here. Maybe it's just me and my Brooklyn hate, or New Jersey hate. Well, I live in Jersey, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie, but I love dogging on the Nets because I'm just a diehard Knicks fan and I can't stand the Nets. So I don't know, man. I just prefer the Knicks. I don't know. We'll see what they do in terms of this head coaching thing. We've got a season to finish though, guys. We're only in game 65, so there are still a little under 20 games remaining. I'm not going to do the math because I can't count. So That'll be that. But guys, thank you so much for stopping by. Again, this has been Rob Carbone doing episode 87 of BD4, where there is no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis than by tuning into this podcast right here, right now. Now, guys, real quick, if you haven't followed my Twitter account, be sure to do that, and also follow my Facebook. The handle for both of those pages, you can find it, just type in at NY Sports Talk RC. At NY Sports Talk RC, either on Twitter or on Facebook. The name of the page is Rob Carbone, and you can find me on Instagram as well. The handle there is at Rob J Carbone. And if you haven't subscribed to BD4, where there's no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis, then subscribe to it, guys. What are you waiting for? I'm on iTunes, Google, Spotify, SoundCloud, Anchor. The video cast is on YouTube, where you can actually watch me speak about this Knicks team who sucks so much. And I'm on plenty other platforms, all the major platforms. I'm on about 10, 11, 12, 13 platforms maybe now. A lot. It's a lot of platforms. You can find this. You can find all those platforms on my blog, on my website, It's My Opinion, which is located at nysportstalkrc.wordpress.com. Once again, you can find all of these platforms to subscribe to my podcast or follow my social media. You can find all that information right on my website, It's My Opinion, which is located at nysportstalkrc.wordpress.com. Once again, nysportstalkrc.wordpress.com. Guys, thank you so much for stopping by. This has been Rob Carbone with episode 87 of BD4. We are coming up on 100 soon. A few weeks, we will be at 100. That's going to be fun. But yeah, I will have an episode on the Yankees sometime this week. I'm finishing up an article right now on the Yankee lineup and how I think the Yankees can maximize the potential of their lineup, with all these injuries and stuff. So I'm going to have an article on that out sometime this week, and maybe the day after I have released that article, I'll have an episode on BD4 here on the same topic as well. So look forward for that. But as for the Knicks fans that follow me, I'll see you in 2 games from now. All right, guys. Thank you so much for following along. Thanks for checking this out. This has been Rob Carbone with BD4, episode 87. I'm signing out. Ciao. Hey, we hope you enjoyed the show. And if you did, be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, share, and all that fun stuff. If you want to follow BD4 on all the different platforms we have, all you have to do is go to my website, nysportstalkrc.wordpress.com. Once again, that's nysportstalkrc.wordpress.com. Thank you guys. I'll see you next time. Ciao.